After that ugly bill passed, over 1,300 people agreed with me. People are angry, overwhelmed, and thinking like, oh, I'm out, I'm leaving the US. But before you pack your bags and start dreaming of a second passport, let's slow down and get real for a moment and understand what it actually takes to do. Because you just don't hop on a plane and they say, oh, here you go. Here's your new passport. Oh, I already knew that. For you know-it-alls, this video isn't for you. Go log off now. There's a ton of misinformation online. Creators saying, leave now, get dual citizenship. This is all you need to do. It's just like that. Renounce. But the thing is, no one is actually breaking down the steps. And a lot of times they're just regurgitating something that they heard from somebody else, and they actually don't live it like I do. This video isn't fear-based. It's about being strategic. Whether you're looking for a long-term escape plan or you just want to know what the options are, you want to stay tuned. So what really happens the minute you land abroad? Most US citizens get what's called visa entry. Most countries let US citizens stay within that country between 30 to 90 days on average. Some more, some less, just depends on the country. That's not permission to live there. That's the timeline that you can be there. For example, let's say you come here to Paraguay. The minute that you land as a US citizen, you get 90 days to be here. Visa free. You don't have to pay anything. If you want to stay longer, you go apply for temporary residency if they offer. Remember, guys, not every country does. So what ends up happening, you might have to apply for a visa extension, or if they allow temporary residency, that will let you stay up to maybe 2 years for some country, maybe 1, but you can renew every year. It just varies depending on the country. Now, the reason why people get temporary residency is because A, they don't have to worry about the consequences of overstaying, because some countries are strict with it. Let's say you're in a country, they only allow you to stay 90 days, and then you leave on day 95. They might say, hey, you overstayed for 5 days, we are going to fine you. Some is just a fine and they call it a day. Some, they might mark you down as an issue person, and they might give you issues if you decide to go back to that specific country. It's going to depend on the country. It's also going to depend on who you come across that day. That's why some people go the temporary residency route, because they don't have to worry about that or doing visa runs. I know some countries, they allow you to do visa runs, which means, hey, if I know I can only be here for 90 days, what I'm going to do is I leave to a nearby country for a day or a few hours, then I come back to get re-stamped, and then it restarts. But after a while, for some countries, they might say, hey, you did this 4 times already this year. What's going on? And they could say, hey, you know what? We're not going to allow you in today. Now what? So those are the cons of doing visa runs. If you like somewhere a lot, you might want to consider figuring out what residency option is best for you. Now, let's say you have temporary residency somewhere, but now you're like, man, can I get permanent residency here now? Like, how does that work? If you're in great standing with that country, let's say you have your temporary residency, and they might say, hey, you know what? You have to hold temporary residency for 2 years, and then you can possibly apply for permanent. Keep in mind, not every country offers permanent residency. Some countries might ask for a language test to make sure you understand the culture, who's the president, and things of that nature. Something similar to if you were being a US citizen, you might have to take a test about the country. Now that you have permanent residency, in this situation, they allow for citizenship. Because once again, what I'm saying is going to vary based upon the country. So they might say, hey, now that you have this permanent residency, you held it for, let's say, 3 years, you can apply for citizenship. And that timeline just varies once again. It could be anywhere from 1 year, 2 years, 5 years or more. It varies. So those are the timeline of how you get another passport. You just don't walk in somewhere and they say, here you go. You either start from temporary and hold it for how long they tell you to. Then if you're allowed to, they say, hey, you could do permanent, but you might have to take a test, an interview, and then hold that again for a certain amount of time. And then you might be eligible for a citizenship, which means passport. So if you want to stay abroad long term and you're not sure if you want to get permanent residency or even citizenship, there are also additional options to stay abroad. You can do visa extension. That's if you go somewhere, they might say 90 days, but then they might allow you to renew 3 times in a year. That's a tourist visa extension. Then you have a digital nomad visa. If that country offers it, they might say, hey, we need to see that you have a remote job or business and you might make over $1,500 a year. Then they might allow you to have a digital nomad visa. There's also student language visas. So that's either if you're a student for a school, I should say, or if you're going there to teach a language like English. Some people might go to China to teach English, or they might go to other places in Latin America to teach English. And that's a visa that allows you to be there because usually a company is sponsoring you. They also have investor visas. So if you're an investor, maybe you're retired, but you have investments that you want to make, some countries may allow you to do. They all have certain requirements. Or rent a visa, which means you have to rent a property in that specific country, even if you don't live there full time. You have citizenship by descent. Or a popular one was Italy. If you're eligible and you can prove that, hey, you have family that are from Italy, maybe a birth certificate, they all have different requirements. If they offer citizenship by descent, then that's a faster track to an automatic passport. You don't have to do the temporary and all that. You get one. But even if you're eligible, that does take some time. It's not immediate. It could take even a couple years. And then citizenship by investment. On average, you do have to invest at least $500,000 or more in a specific country. That's either a business, a home. So that's the option. Remember, even with temporary residency, some countries have stay requirements. They might say, hey, if you're going to get a temporary residency here, you have to be here 6 months out the year. Or you have to be here 9 months out the year. So that may eliminate some people from certain countries if they want to maybe bounce around or they want to go back to the US or other countries. You could easily become ineligible if you don't meet their timeline requirements. And that's for every visa. They may have certain requirements that you have to follow, though, in order to be in good standing with them. And I want to add a bonus. This doesn't apply for everybody. But if you're a U.S. citizen and you live abroad, there is the FEIE tax deduction that you can do. You're going to have to sit down with a CPA and a trusted advisor. But pretty much what that is, if you live outside the U.S. as a U.S. citizen for 330 days out of the year, you can deduct. For 2025, it was like up to $130,000 off your taxes. Once again, there's different requirements, depends on how you make your money. So you want to sit down with a professional that knows how that works based upon your situation. Remember, guys, you just cannot renounce your U.S. citizenship without another passport. You have to have that in place. So those are the options. This is not something overnight. And for some people, it may not make sense to renounce, even if they have another passport, because there's a lot of implications that a lot of people don't talk about. This isn't a doom and gloom video, it's just strategy. If you're serious about your plan B, don't let these TikTok videos or other people who are not living a life try to tell you how things work when they're not even in the situation themselves. And don't rush your decision. Those are things you have to really think about and analyze fully. Understand the pros and the cons to see if it even makes sense. And leaving doesn't mean you're saying your goodbye forever to the US or whatever country you're coming from. It can be a way of reclaiming your peace, controlling what you can control for you and your family, and just keeping your options open. So if you're serious about moving abroad or want to know your options, whether that's about moving, income, career, how to go about things, tune into my channel. We drop content weekly that may fit in these categories. No fluff, no BS. Subscribe to the channel. Drop some comments below if you have any questions. And check the description in my video and the comment pinned as well. If you want to understand how to go about building a strategy together, I can help you.